Now to the very latest on the water crisis in Jackson, Mississippi. Tens of thousands of people are still without safe drinking water. Officials are scrambling to distribute bottled water to the capital city's residents. Trevor Alt is in Jackson with more. Good morning, Trevor.
Deirdre, this is a fleet of National Guard vehicles and tanker trucks here in Jackson, ready to help as the city is still very much in the midst of a crisis. And we have seen some progress at the water treatment facility at the center of the issue. They've now installed an emergency rental pump. So overnight, at least some Jackson residents should have had their water pressure restored. And the hope is it will be fully returned by the end of this week, maybe next week. But here's the thing. Whether or not the water is flowing, it is still not safe to drink. And people have been flocking to water distribution sites all over the city, a lot of them waiting hours for a single case or two. A lot of other people getting turned away when those supplies inevitably run out. They always do at every site. And now more national resources are pouring in, like here from the National Guard, FEMA also helping out. They are trying to help these residents after what has essentially been a parade of crises. I spoke with one business owner yesterday. He's operated a restaurant here in Jackson for 37 years. He says he's praying that this is rock bottom for Jackson. He says after what they've been going through right now, the choices are to either permanently fix the water system or abandon the city. And he says they are not abandoning the city. Deirdre.
Trevor, thank you so much. We do want to bring in right now Jackson City Council member Aaron Banks for more on this. Thank you, sir, very much for being here. This is not the first time that Jackson has gone without running water. This happened last year. Why is it happening again?
Hey, Deirdre, look, thank you for having me. Listen, we have had systemic problems with this water plant and with our aging plants, O.B. Curtis and J.H. Few. The last time in February of last year when we had this, it was due to freezing temperatures that Jackson, Mississippi is just not used to. We're talking about temperatures in 14 degrees, 17 degrees where the screens froze, the membranes locked up, which slowed down the flow. Ever since then, we've been trying to winterize that water treatment facility while upgrading infrastructure throughout the city. And so in the midst of doing that and trying to stay in compliance with the EPA, we have had short staffing. We haven't been able to employ the Class A operators needed at our water treatment facilities because we can't afford to pay a competitive pay. And so as a city council member, I've been doing everything that I can to make sure that we prioritize our monies and make those significant cuts that are necessary so that we can push our resources over that way. And so, you know, the good thing about this is now we see the state and the federal government coming in very aggressively to help us with those resources. The temporary pump was a relief, but we still have a lot of uncertainties. We're expecting rain this weekend, which could mean more flooding, which could mean that this problem could continue for another week.
Councilman Banks, you represent Ward 6. I just heard you say this could continue for another week, but this particular ward has been the hardest hit area in Jackson. Why is that?
Well, Ward 6 is in South Jackson. The water has the farthest to travel from O.B. Curtis, which is about 23 miles north. It has the furthest, the surface water has the furthest to travel to get to South Jackson. Then you have a whole lot of high elevations. And so by the time we have the consumption rate, and we're talking about an area that may have 7 tanks compared to North Jackson that may have 16 to 17 tanks. But we have more housing stock in the South Jackson area. And so, you know, there has not been a month where we have gone within a month's time without boil water notices every month or without 2 to 3 days every month with low to no water pressure within my ward. And so we are looking for, you know, what we need is immediate fixes with bigger lines, like installing the 48-inch lines so that we can increase the flow to the South Jackson area. And that's just one of the fixes. You know, right now we're just talking about the water plant. We're not talking about the increased capacity because of the amount of housing that we have in South Jackson.
So families, speaking of the hardship, waiting hours to be given 1 to 2 packs of water per vehicle. We've seen the cars lining up at these distribution sites. We're told some can't take a shower. I mean, this has to be an incredibly challenging ordeal. So what are you hearing from your constituents? Are they super frustrated? Are they hanging in there? What's the tone like?
Look, on top of the frustration, and one of the things about Jackson citizens is that they're resilient. We unfortunately have gotten used to this because this has been off and on for 2 years. And on top of that frustration, even I myself have to travel around 12, 13 minutes to my mother's house, me and my family, just to take a shower, brush our teeth, do the things so that we can get up and do the things that we need to do. But the thing is that we see our partners and our sister cities from all over helping to come in so that now we're not able to just provide 1 or 2 cases of water, but several cases of water. Mayor Robin Mouton of Beaumont, Texas, Mayor Eric Simmons of Greenville, Mississippi, Councilwoman Deborah Delgado of Hattiesburg are sending in 18-wheelers and truckloads of water so that we can give in more. So, even though there's frustration, there's a resilience and there's a hope that, this city can be all that it needs to be. And we're glad to see the state, to see Governor Reeves during a call emergency. We're very thankful to see President Joe Biden do this declare state of emergency for this city. Our hope, though, is that, we can begin to see those resources and appropriation actually get to the capital city. National League of Cities and one of the caucus that I'm first vice president of, which is the National Black Caucus of Local Elected Officials, we've been pushing for years for cities our size to begin to see those federal appropriations. Instead of them going to the state of Mississippi and they get held up in some process or matching dollar for dollar process when it's been appropriate for the state, that those funds come directly to the city of Jackson so that we can do the things that are necessary to make sure that we provide a decent quality of life for our citizens here in Jackson, Mississippi.
Councilman Banks, your constituents are lucky to have you. Thank you so much for the time today.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.